right. I call this meeting to order. Comrades, you are called to order for the opening ceremonies. Comrade Chaplain, are you online? I'll go ahead and do the opening prayer. God be merciful unto us and bless us. Cause your face to shine upon us, that your way may be known upon earth, and thy saving strength among all people. Let the people be glad and sing for joy, for ye shall judge them righteously and govern the nations until upon earth. Especially do we pray that we may have your guidance at the end, that we may may each of us firmly uphold the great principles of this organization. Amen.
Amen.
Comrades, all members and guests who are veterans will give the hand salute. All others will place your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Comrades, as a reminder, we're here to address only matters specific to our organization. All discussions must be relevant to our mission statement, which I will read now. We are dedicated to a single purpose, empowering veterans to lead high-quality lives with respect and dignity. We accomplish this by ensuring the veterans and their families can accomplish the full range of benefits available to them. Fighting for the interest of America's injured heroes on Capitol Hill, and educating the public about the great sacrifices and needs of veterans transitioning back to civilian life. Providing free professional assistance to veterans and their families, and obtaining benefits and services earned through military service and provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs and other government agencies, providing outreach concerning its programs, services to the American public generally, and to disabled veterans and their families specifically. Representing the interests of disabled veterans, their families, their widows, spouses, and their orphans before Congress, the White House, and the judicial branch, as well as state and local government. Extending DA's mission of hope into the communities where these veterans and their families live, through a network of state-level departments and local chapters, providing a structure through which disabled veterans can express their compassion for their fellow veterans through a variety of volunteer programs. I now declare the meeting open for the transition of such business as may rightfully come before it. Comrade Adjutant, will you call the roll of officers?
Thank you, Comrade Commander, and good morning to everybody online and with us here in the meeting this morning. Our roll call of officers: Commander Tom Wendell.
Present.
Senior Vice Commander Gary Salpini. First Junior Vice Commander Tanya Colpert. Second Junior Vice Commander Shamala Capizzi. Absent. Treasurer Kathleen Schultz.
Here.
Chaplain John Hoffman is online. Immediate Past Commander Erwin Schultz.
Here.
Department Executive Committee Member Tom Wendell.
Present.
Alternate DEC Shane Lehrman. Present. Officer of the Day Jim Anders is logged in online. Sergeant at Arms Joe LaHaye.
Present.
Judge Advocate Erwin Schultz.
Here.
Benefits Protection Team Leader Jesse Bendahan is online. Adjutant Shane Lehrman, present. Chapter Service Officers Chris Arrington, I believe, is online. Fred Skaggs, I believe, is online. Assistant Adjutants Michelle Hershey Leffler and Joe LaHaye. Joe is present in the room this morning. That completes our roll call of officers. Comrade Commander, we have a quorum of the officers present live in the meeting.
Thank you, Comrade Adjutant. Comrade Adjutant, in reference to our minutes were, all right, I'll back up a moment. All guests and members in attendance in person and online. Comrade Adjutant will read those person.
Just to make sure we have an official record in this recording of those present in the room live at the meeting this morning: Gary Salpini, Joe LaHaye, Tom Wendell, Jeremy Yost, Erwin Schultz, Kathleen Schultz, Shane Lehrman, G.A. Redding, and Tanya Colpert. In reference to those online and logged in, I will ask that each of you wait a few seconds, turn off your mic, and announce your name for those that have joined us online. So go ahead.
Jesse Bendahan.
All right, Jesse, and I didn't catch that two other people spoke at the same time. Could you try again?
Fred Skaggs.
Jim Procunior.
Fred Skaggs, Jim Pecunior. Who else? You have to unmute your microphone if you're online so that we know that you're there. So please, if you haven't told us you're there, please unmute your mic and let us know. I believe Jim Anders is online, and I believe Chris Arrington is also online. I will verify, Commander.
Jim Anders, President.
There you go, Jim. Right on, Jim.
Yeah, got me. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Fred.
All right, in reference to our minutes, the August 2020 meeting was recorded and posted to the chapter YouTube channel and provided this week. I move that we accept the recording as posted.
Immediate past seconds.
Well, a motion and a second. Do we have any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Nice try. All right, we'll now hear from our treasurer for our treasurer's report.
Okay, this is the finance report for the month of August 1st through the 31st, presented at the September meeting. Our beginning balance was $21,141.13. We did not have an income post. We had 2 checks. The first both sent out on the 15th of August. The first one was for Tanya Culbert for the DAB Spring Conference reimbursement, check 4772 in the amount of $598.71. Second one is the same date. It was for the State Corporation Commission for our annual registration fee assessment, check 4773 for $25. That totals $623.71, leaving us with an ending balance of $20,517.42. I make a motion to accept my accept my report as read, subject to audit.
Senator, seconds.
Hey, well. We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Comrade Treasurer. Chaplain's report. The chaplain did send us an email in reference to his report. Jerry Wolf has been having problems with a UTI for the past month. Enjoyed a visit from his daughters from New York and New Jersey, and they were definitely being cautious due to the COVID-19 issues, but it was great for him to have a visit with his family. And then the chaplain's been getting some spinal injections, and he's been receiving for about 5 weeks, and also showing some good success. He's been pain-free for about the last 6 days, so that's great news to hear. I know Jim Anders had surgery on his back, and Jim is at home now doing rehab at home, and he's recovering real well. It's great to see him on our Sunday night chats. And we also have Gary Salpini. Gary had shoulder surgery, and he's here with us today doing well, and he's also recovering well, got a shoulder brace on, and things are doing good. So I hope everyone else is doing well out there, and that concludes our chaplain's report. And I'd like to say for the record that Second Junior Vice Shamala Capizzi is present in the room now.
Here. Sorry.
Comrade Adjutant, any communications?
Why, yes, Comrade Commander, we have communications. We received information from the Department of Virginia DAV in reference to the Emergency Relief Committee for the Department of Virginia. They have gone to very specific emails and email addresses for assistance, and they're also asking each chapter to consider doing the same. In our after action report, I will provide more information that we'll send out via the newsletter so everyone can see, but the chapter is aware of the new email address for the Department Emergency Relief Committee. Also, there is a volunteer reporting webinar being conducted by National DAV Voluntary Services, and that will be on September 23rd at, yes, I left the time blank. You're welcome, because now I don't even remember when it was myself. I believe that's at 2 p.m. on the 23rd. Again, I will have that information in our after action report for those, but I believe it is 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I will verify that in an email when I send it out. Also, great news, the state of Virginia, or Commonwealth of Virginia, their legislature has passed resolutions commending DAV's centennial, our 100 years. Both the House of Delegates and the Commonwealth Senate have passed resolutions commending DAV's 100th anniversary. That's great news. We also received notification that the Department of Virginia DAV has canceled the fall conference that was scheduled for October 15th through October 18th. And we also received notification early this morning that Chapter 10's go-to-meeting subscription is due for the next year. The annual fee is $348, and we will be discussing that later in the meeting. I have no other communications at this time, Comrade Commander. I don't think, right? Oh, no, sorry. I'm incorrect. I did have one more piece of news to pass on as far as communications. We just recently received that the Strength and Honor Motorcycle Club yesterday said they have partnered with a local program for M&M Roofing to donate a roof to a veteran within Prince William County. So they will be providing a new roof at no cost to a veteran who cannot afford it at this time due to financial reasons, whatever they may be, specifically also COVID-19 related issues, unemployment issues. I will send more information out with that in the after action report, but we just received that, I believe, this morning. Late last night. Oh, and one last communication I received this morning that's not on our. Wow, I just drew a whole blank there. I just shut down. Jeez. We received something early this morning in reference to my email. I emailed the DAV National Voluntary Services Director this morning inquiring about the Winter Sports Clinic, as Chapter 10 has been a gold level sponsor. Last year, we donated $10,000 to be a gold sponsor, but the event was canceled. We inquired about the donation from last year and how that'll run. The National Voluntary Services Director verified this morning in email that our donation from last year will roll over into the 2021 Winter Sports Clinic. So the donation we made is good for the next Winter Sports Clinic, still at the gold sponsor level. If we want to donate anything more to raise our sponsorship, that is up to us. But our $10,000 sponsorship will be applied to the next Winter Sports Clinic. That is all the communications I have at this time, Comrade Commander.
Thank you, Comrade Adjutant. I greatly appreciate you reaching out to Voluntary Services. I believe we ended our call last night about 8:30, and you jumped on that quickly and got us a response, so thank you very much. Committee reports. Jesse Benningham, anything in reference to the BPTL and legislation?
Good morning, comrades. Just one issue to tee up. I saw some news reports this week on legislation introduced in Congress that would declare certain illnesses as linked to toxic burn pit, removing proof of exposure. It was introduced by Representative Ruiz in the House and Senator Gillibrand in the Senate, and I think it's titled something like Presumptive Benefits for Warfighters Exposed to Burn Pits and Other Toxins Act of 2020. I could not find a Senate bill number to track it, but I know one of our active members has had some experience, just a little bit of experience on burn pit exposure. So if that person is here and they'd like to mention anything, please go ahead. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yes, thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that information. This is Shane. And for those of you who don't know, I am also the Deputy National Legislative Director for DAV. The piece of legislation that Jesse has just referred to was already pending in the House of Representatives. The press conference was introducing the Senate version of that bill. They also had several celebrities and veterans at the press conference, to include Jon Stewart. Now, in reference to that exact piece of legislation, DAV does not currently support that piece of legislation, and I will explain. That legislation is proposing 8 diseases related to all of the exposures considered with the Persian Gulf and post 9/11 veterans in Southwest Asia. The reason DAV does not at this time support that piece of legislation is on Friday of last week, the National Academy of Sciences issued their 2-year report on respiratory conditions related to airborne toxins in Southwest Asia. That report concluded that there is insufficient evidence to link any specific diagnosed respiratory disease to those exposures. So the reason DAV does not support that piece of legislation at this time, they list 8 respiratory conditions that have not been found to be scientifically linked to that exposure. However, DAV does support a piece of legislation, several pieces of legislation on burn pits. The one significant to note is S-2950 in the Senate, and that is the Veterans Burn Pit Exposure Recognition Act. That would remove the requirement of presumptives and remove the burden of proof on veterans to prove they were exposed to toxins and to what, and would provide a VA examination to determine if their condition is related to that exposure without having to rely on scientific association and presumptives. It appears that we are going to be roughly at least 5 years before we have scientific evidence of an association to burn pits and the other toxic hazards with Southwest Asia service. That is why DAV is pushing this other initiative, the Veterans Burn Pits Exposure Recognition Act. That issue will also be addressed this next week in the House of Representatives. Veterans Affairs Committee, the subcommittee of Disability Assistance and Memorial Affairs, will be conducting a hearing on Wednesday at 10 a.m. in reference to that report from the National Academy of Sciences, possible presumptive diseases, and the concession of exposure. DAV will be at that testimony. DAV is providing written testimony, and we will be a witness, and it'll be myself. And I will make sure to provide information for that link later in the week via Chapter 10's Facebook page, so you can tune in and watch that hearing on Wednesday at 10 a.m., specifically to address diseases related to the exposures in Southwest Asia. So I hope that clarified and expounded a little bit on what Jesse provided. And other things to note that are going on legislatively, there is a major veterans mental health and suicide prevention legislation that has been making its way through the Senate. Now the House just marked up their version of it, and it looks very likely that there will be new mental health treatment and suicide prevention legislation specifically for veterans that will have a chance to be signed into law before the end of the year. Also, in reference to survivors, the Caring for Survivors Act, which was introduced into the House in May, right before Memorial Day, H.R. 6933, the companion bill for the Senate was just introduced this last week. So this piece of legislation is now in the House and in the Senate, and we're continuing to push on that piece of legislation to hopefully get some ground on it before the end of the year. The end of the year is significant because the 116th Congress ends at the end of December. So that means any piece of legislation that is currently pending but not passed into law will have to be reintroduced into the new Congress starting in January of 2021 for the 117th Congress. I have nothing further to report at this time, Comrade Commander. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you, Jesse, for that report. And one other legislative thing I'd like to remind everybody in reference to the Commonwealth of Virginia. With voting coming up in November, just remember to make sure you vote on the bill in reference to the 100% veterans and property relief for the one vehicle. So make sure you spread the word, get that out to everybody. Not just veterans need to vote on this. We need everyone's vote on this. So make sure you're talking to people, especially with everything going on this year. A lot of people won't be going to the polls. They're going to be voting not absentee, but by mail. So make sure you're getting the word out to people, talking to them about what that's all about and getting them to vote yes for that bill. So thank you very much, and we appreciate that. Officer Day, Service Officer Chris Harrington, do you have anything? Hearing nothing. Gary Salpini, anything on membership?
No, sir, nothing new.
Okay. Membership, just remember, continue to recruit members. Even though things are a little bit different right now, you can still invite members to come to the meeting. We'd be more than happy to have them. We can also, they can join us online as well. So please get the word out to anybody that's interested in DAV and becoming a member, or they just want to check us out. So thank you. All right, women veterans, Tanya Copert, anything new?
I got notified of an event.
Oh, come on up.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay, I got notified of an event, women's veterans event on Rally Point. It's going to be a online event on September 30th from 3 to 4 p.m. And it's going to be a Q&A with the Deputy Secretary, Colonel Pamela Powers, as well as others. And it's going to be focusing on women's health and resiliency through COVID and beyond. That's it.
And I'll make sure we provide that information in the follow-up email for our after action after the meeting.
Thank you very much for that report, Tanya. Social media, Mr. Lehrman.
Chapter 10 does social media well. That is all. No, just a little bit of more information. We are changing a lot of, not changing, but we're moving with the times in a lot of the things that we do. Most of you have seen the chapter newsletter that came out earlier this week. This morning, we're trying something new. We sent out a reminder email at 7 a.m. this morning, not for those specifically coming to the meeting, but as a reminder for those who are logging in online. It gives you the link and the information right up front. So that is something new that we have done. The recent newsletter that we sent out was opened and reviewed by over 400 chapter members, which is always successful. We had almost a 30% open rate of the newsletter that we sent. Facebook, we're still providing tons of posts and information and updates on the national, local levels, as well as legislative issues and things from the DAV magazine. And Twitter is being ran by our good friend, Jim Pecunior. Jim Pecunior, do you have anything to add in reference to DAV Chapter 10's Twitter feed?
Thank you, Shane. And as a matter of fact, I do. We continue to have an extremely diverse population following us on Twitter. We have as many other organizations, other VSOs that have followed us and repost and retweet the information that we put out, specifically on veterans affairs and legislative issues. Our little Twitter account for DAV Chapter 10 is followed in about 12 other countries as well, in Europe, South America, Africa, the Far East. We have several followers in Japan that routinely follow us to see what we're putting out. We still do get requests from other chapters and in some cases other departments as to how we managed to put up this much information out. And it's very simple because Chapter 10 has a couple of old gray-headed old guys that have really nothing better to do than scour the internet for great information. And that's all I have this morning. Shane, thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for the great stuff that you're doing with Chapter 10's Twitter account. That's amazing. We're being followed by members in 12 countries outside of the US. So I think that really does display Chapter 10 does social media well. That concludes my report, Comrade Commander.
Thank you very much, Shane, and thank you, Jim, for all you do. And for those of you that don't know, when we go to department, we go to national, both of those entities really point at Chapter 10 and our social media and what we do on social media. So we greatly appreciate all the work that Shane and Jim put into our social media. So thank you, gentlemen. Kathleen, anything new besides your finance report?
No.
Thank you. Jeremy, go to the next one. All right, unfinished business. Before we go to unfinished business, I wanted to mention one other thing in reference to legislative. Just remember, all those things that Shane talked about, National normally puts something out on DAV CAN. So if you're not a member of DAV CAN, please go on there. It'll put out a email already written out for you, going right to your congressman, your senator, and everything's taken care of. Now, one thing you want to be careful of is some people have joined DAV CAN and they say, well, I don't get the emails. The first couple, sometimes they go into your junk. So make sure you're checking that. And then afterwards, after you've done it a few times, it'll go into your regular emails. So please look for that in there. But please make sure you're checking those links. You're sending in your responses to your congressmen and senators. You know, I sent couple links hit this week. I sent them out. I got responses from, Congressman Byers' office yesterday. So please make sure that you're doing that. All right, unfinished business. As you know, in the past, we've done some online information seminars, and we're looking at doing another one on October 27th at 7 p.m. Now, this is one, we're redoing the very first one that we ever did, because as we learned from experience that, hey, you can record everything you do on GoToMeeting. Well, we didn't know that on our very first one. So we're going to redo the 7 methods of service connection again. That way it's recorded and it can be placed on our YouTube channel and on our website. So NSO Supervisor Jeremy Yost, which is a member of Chapter 10 now, will be our primary presenter, along with myself, Shane Lehrman, and possibly Mr. Erwin Schultz. We'll send out more information in our October newsletter in reference to that. So, online chapter service training, department service online training from the Roanoke National Service Office. As of right now, there is not a set date. As you know, with the state convention being postponed this year, the chapter service officer training did not take place. So they are going to look at doing it online. There's been a few other departments that have already done theirs online, and it seems to have worked out very well. So we're waiting for the word from the supervisor of our Roanoke office to say when that's going to happen. So as soon as we know, you will know. So, thank you. As we all know, everything going on right now with COVID-19 and social distancing and everything, our volunteering at the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial is on hold right now. Once we hear something from the Park Service that says we can go back in there and start cleaning, then we will do so. I've actually gone there a few times myself recently, and as far as trash and everything, it's very clean. They're maintaining that cleanliness, but as far as the actual glass, the glass is pretty foggy, a lot of, bird crap on there. So, but there's not a lot we can do right now with that. But, besides those issues, they are keeping it clean all around there. So thank you. One of the things we still need to look at is meeting locations. As we all know that the post here, the American Legion post, will be eventually being torn down and moved. And as you can see today, we're actually downstairs in the small room. We're not upstairs in the larger room where we're normally at. Just one more reason that we really need to look at, finding our own space. So if you have any ideas, please let us know. We understand that not everything's always free. If we do have to pay a small fee for a room, that's something that we would have to discuss. But if we can get a room somewhere that could be dedicated to us on a monthly basis, and also a room that we can do our banquet, then, those are things that we'd want to look at. So thank you very much. Next one, Shane. All right. New business. Our video conference service, our GoToMeeting. As Shane mentioned earlier, we found out that we have to renew this week. The current price is $348 for a year. Now, as we all know, especially with everything going on in the world, there's a lot of different medias out there that do this. Zoom being a potential one. Zoom, their annual cost is about $200, but we're not sure about all the specifics as far as compatibility being similar to what we're using and security issues. And so, we have discussed these things, and, we'll want to continue to discuss it today amongst the membership in reference to that. So as far as the members, do we have a thought on, would we prefer to stick with our GoToMeeting or look at another media? Erwin Schultz.
Yeah, Commander, just to let you know, I've been on a couple Zoom meetings for another group. It's been problems logging in. I'm aware of the security issues. Based on the problems that I've had personally with Zoom, I would heartily recommend we stay with GoToMeeting. It's been a great system that we've been using for as long as we've had it. Shane has figured out how much it's adaptable. He is to be commended for all the work he's done on it. Like I said, my recommendation, stay with GoToMeeting.
Okay. Any other comments on anyone in the room?
Yes, Comrade Commander, this is Shane. Giving very similar to what Erwin just provided, we have not had any technological issues or concerns with GoToMeeting for the last 3 years. I do note there is a difference in the price point. We haven't had enough time to really compare what they're offering versus what we're receiving for price. I just received the notice this morning, but I wanted to make sure we talk about it. But my opinion is, if we've been using this service for 3 years, unlimited for the price that we're paying for it, and we've had no technical difficulties whatsoever, I find it hard to switch solely for a price point without knowing all of the other issues that may come up. I recommend we stay with GoToMeeting for at least another year, and during that time, we can start doing a more comprehensive comparison between GoToMeeting and some of the other services. But since it's due this week, I don't think we have enough time to do that kind of a comparison. And if it's not paid on Wednesday, we lose the service, so we won't have it for the following Sunday's Commander's Chat and check-in. So I recommend we stay as is, and we do a more thorough comparison throughout the next year.
Are you making a motion, Comrade Adjutant?
No, I'm just making a comment because I'm sure that somebody online has a comment to make as well.
That was going to be my ask is, does anyone online have any additional comments?
Comrade Commander, a couple of things, and this is Jim Percunior for those in the room that can't see the video. Zoom, although wildly popular, does have those security issues, and everybody should realize that Zoom and TikTok were both owned by the same Chinese company. And there has been a lot of issues with Zoom. The federal government, for any of you that are still working for the feds, you know, they totally said, do not use Zoom because there's some security issues. I also sit on the communications committee down here for our development, and because of the COVID-19, they started broadcasting the board meetings and also some of the other affairs that are going on down here. So we did a research into several of them, GoToMeeting, Zoom, and Google Meet came out very high on the list. And then as we went down through, of course, we eliminated Zoom right away. Google Meeting has some great potential, but the problem is you pay by the user that has access to the features. So we eliminated that one because we needed at least 8 people to get in there. Well, 8 people at $8 a month times 12 months was almost 3 times as, or twice as much as we would here now pay for GoToMeeting. And it is secure, it is easy to run, and just one old man's opinion, GoToMeeting works, and unless something else comes up in the next year with some extensive research, I think we should stay with GoToMeeting for this. And this concludes my interruption, Comrade Commander.
All right. Any other comments online?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
This is Jesse. I support where we're headed in terms of sticking with GoToMeeting for this next year. It sounds like a good strategy. And during the next year, besides doing a comparison of capabilities of Zoom and other platforms to GoToMeeting, I would also recommend, I mean, since we're so good at social media, I mean, if the goal is to try and increase the visibility to see if the members would be more comfortable with Zoom, would we have more participation if we switch to another platform? Probably not, but it's worth it in addition to trying to compare the capabilities to also compare how many members might participate. And that is my only comment. Thank you.
The survey. All right. All right. Thank you very much, Jesse. Any additional comments online? All right. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Comrade Commander, Immediate Past Commander moves that we stick with GoToMeeting for the next year and do the research as been suggested as to whether or not any platform can compare.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second by G.A. Redding. And so I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussions? No discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Comrade Commander, this is Comrade Adjutant Learman.
Yes, Comrade Adjutant.
I will be making that payment then this week. Once I receive receipt, I will provide it to Comrade Treasurer for reimbursement. Thank you.
All right, on that note, I would entertain a motion that once Comrade Adjutant Learman pays it, that the chapter reimburses him for that service.
Comrade Commander, Immediate Past makes the motion that once Comrade Adjutant makes Comrade payment, he remits it to Comrade spouse for Comrade reimbursement.
All right.
Too many comrades running around here, sir.
No. I have a motion and I have a second by GA. Any discussions on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Holiday banquet. Tentative date would be Sunday, December the 6th. But as we all know, you know, we have everything going on with COVID-19. We have everything going on with social distancing, you know, so one of the things we need to look at as a chapter is, you know, one, we don't want to schedule something that is probably going to get canceled due to everything that's going on. So our recommendation right now is to postpone basically to cancel the banquet for this year, unless someone in the meeting or online has something else in mind. Comrade Schultz?
I was going to bring this up as well, Commander, with the with the pandemic concerns and everything else that's going on in the world right now, that we need to consider cancellation. I'm glad to see you guys are ahead of me on this one. But yeah, I fully support that if we decide to cancel, make the donation to especially DAV COVID-19 relief, because we see how many emails come through on that, get reported to us every day from national service staff, how many applications we've been getting. So if we have to cancel because of it, let's help our fellow veterans who are suffering from it.
Yes, sir. Okay. Mr. Lehrman?
Comrade Commander, two things. First is we normally have a buffet style banquet dinner that is served here in the post 177. And most every restaurant in the country has stopped hosting buffet style events because of COVID-19 and because the amount of people and the food. So that would be a big concern. We would have to consider changing that. Number two, if we go ahead and start this and we cancel, we're still going to be on the hook for the full amount of the banquet and the food if we plan it and then have to cancel. Normally, or over the last several years, the banquet has ranged us between overall costs, not just the cost here at the post, between $2,500 and $3,000 is roughly our cost for the banquet each year. So if we schedule it and don't have it, we're still going to be on the hook for the majority of that money, at least $2,000 of it, for the post here for their catering service. So I think that it may be a good idea that we consider not having the banquet this year because of all of the concerns. And so we're not on the hook for potentially $3,000, and instead use that as donations to help veterans in other avenues instead of on the banquet. So that is my comment.
Okay. Any additional comments in the room? Any additional comments online? All right.
Just one quick comment. Since we're so good at GoToMeeting, and could you have a partly virtual holiday banquet and include in that what we've done for fundraising with the silent auction and have people put up things online and bid online? I'm not sure of the logistics of that, but it'd be a way to raise some money for the chapter. Just throwing it out to have a backup alternative. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Jesse, but one of the things in reference to fundraising online, basically National is the only entity through DAV that can actually do any fundraising online. Chapters and departments are not allowed to do that. So, but good idea and good thinking.
But we could still do an online presentation of the award that we normally do, maybe some greetings from the chapter itself, and maybe talk about what we're doing with the money instead. So we could schedule an event that same time and host it all virtually, make the donations, present our awards, do those things without actually spending that money on a meeting. So that's a great idea, Jesse.
Thank you very much for that, Jesse. And now in reference to, I know we have a couple things noted on here as far as, possibly donating to the VA homeless veterans or to DAV's COVID-19 relief. And I actually didn't think about this last night, Shane, when we were talking, but one of the things I liked about what we did last year was we actually donated to some families around the area that needed help during the holidays. And so I would still like to try and see if we could possibly do that as well. So what I'd like to do in reference to the actual holiday banquet is entertain a motion to not have the banquet, but as far as determining where we're going to allocate the money, maybe wait and do that next month. And that way we can have some more thoughts in reference to that.
Comrade Commander, immediate pass so moves, and that we look into the alternate way of doing that we discussed here, possibly doing an online presentation of our annual John Mackey Award, and discussing whether at the next meeting as to how we're going to dispense with the funds we would normally expend during that time.
So you're giving the motion right now?
I am making that motion, yes, sir.
Okay, so I have a motion to not have the holiday banquet this year, but to look at other avenues as far as, donating money and also possibly doing a go-to-meeting or something that at least shows our award and some other things during that time. So do I have a second?
Second.
Who said that? GA. I have a second from GA. Any additional comments?
Maybe we could do more than one of those events and split the money.
We could. That's why we want to further discuss it. So yes.
January 1st, I mean, you got a whole new year, you can start right away.
Especially since we aren't having anybody go to a fall conference this year.
Correct.
So there's. even
We
more
have some money
we could
this year.
throw into that. Yeah.
So, all right. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, in reference to that, I will personally miss, the camaraderie that we have during the holiday banquet. I also will miss Capizzi's daughter dancing around. And for those that weren't at our banquet last year, I tell you, those families that we invited in, that we helped, they really appreciated everything that we did for them. Their children enjoyed it. They haven't had an appearance by Santa Claus. So it was a great turnout and a great event. So I would definitely miss that this year. So chapter officer training. As you know, a few years ago, we did a chapter officer training, and we've had some new officers come in. So we think it's time to do that chapter officer training again. So we're looking at doing that, probably doing everything online versus last time we went to the DAV national headquarters in DC, and we did it on a Saturday, basically spent about 8 hours on a Saturday doing it. But we're looking at doing it in November, doing some online training, and we'll come up with a schedule as how we're doing it. We're probably not going to do it all in one day. We may do a 2-hour session on a Saturday and then do some 1-hour sessions different nights throughout the week. So we'll figure all that out and get the word out to everybody. But this isn't just for the sitting officers. This is for any chapter member that wants to learn more about DAV, that wants to learn about becoming a leader in DAV. So the training that we put together is very informative, tells you a lot of the history of the DAV, tells you a lot about our programs, tells you about, what the responsibilities are for each chapter officer. And so we look forward to having as many people online as possible, not just the sitting officers. So those of you that are in the room, most of you are already leaders, and we hope that you will continue to be leaders. But we definitely want to teach you the DAV way, and that way you can see what DAV does and how we do it. And so we look forward to putting that together for you. So, all right. Commander's appointments. So, as you know, Comrade Adjutant, he's got a lot of new responsibilities with his new job. He's not going to leave us right now. He's never going to leave us, but he basically has a lot of responsibilities with his new position, and we're trying to relieve him of some of those responsibilities. So in reference to that, I'm appointing Jeremy Yost as assistant adjutant, and that supersedes the previous assistant adjutants that I had previously appointed. Jeremy's got a long history with DAV. He knows a lot of the ins and outs about the organization. and it'll definitely help as a smoother transition when the time does come where Comrade Adjutant needs to step down. So we appreciate Jeremy stepping up and volunteering to do this. So I am appointing Jeremy Yost as Assistant Adjutant. So thank you very much, Jeremy. Comrade Adjutant.
I make a motion that to approve your appointment, that Chapter 10 approves your appointment, Comrade Commander. That is my motion.
Immediate pass seconds.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve my appointment. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye, aye, aye.
Opposed? No, Jeremy, you cannot oppose. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
And whatever God you believe in, see on yourself.
All right, installation ceremony. So, Senior Vice Commander, Comrade Tanya?
That's,
Yeah.
You guys could probably stay there for the whole point of social distancing. And then Comrade Commander, if you want to bring up our installing officer, past chapter commander, and all around good fella, Erwin Schultz.
All right, everyone, we're going to do a quick installation. And Jeremy, can you join them? And Comrade Schultz is going to install them.
Yeah.
you can stay seated, standing,
Whatever.
whatever.
You can sit in front of the mic. I want to record. Thank you.
Is the camera off?
No, it's not.
You can see it, Erwin. They don't see your ugly mug in front of them.
Your ugly mug's not being recorded.
However, his pretty blue eyes are showing.
They are pretty.
Wow. That was awkward.
Yeah. From his wife and a navigator. Yeah. Everybody's in position. Your comrades and the disabled American veterans have great confidence in your moral integrity and your executive ability. Because of that confidence, they have elected or appointed you to your respective offices. Do you accept the office to which you have been elected or appointed? Yes. Are you ready to receive the oath of office? Then raise your right hand. State your full name. Upon my word and honor, as a member of the Disabled American Veterans, and in the presence of Almighty God, and my comrades, and before the flag of my country, accept the office to which I have been elected or appointed. I promise to perform the duties of such office to the best of my ability. I pledge to act and conduct myself in such a manner at all times and places as will only affect the good of the order. I promise to enforce and sustain the Constitution and bylaws of this organization. When my successor has been duly elected or appointed and installed, I promise to surrender to him or her all the property of the order in my possession, all of which I now affirm. You may lower your hands. Upon the promise you have just solemnly made, I now install you in the office to which you have been elected or appointed. I charge you to be earnest, faithful, and devoted, and to remember that our mission as a disabled American veterans organization is not fulfilled until all our country's wartime disabled and their dependents and survivors have been adequately cared for. Comrades, I now present to you your newly installed officers.
Thank you, Comrade Schultz. And congratulations to everyone that was installed today. Look forward to working with you and having a productive year. All right. Good of the order. Anything under good of the order? Anyone online have anything for good of the order? All right. Moving forward. Our next meeting will be Saturday, October 17th, 2020 at 10 a.m. At this point, 1 moment of silence will be devoted in honor of our departed comrades. May they rest in peace. Comrades, remain standing by the numbers and salute. 2. Comrades, the purpose of our gathering here has been accomplished. Before we close, let us always be mindful of the principles of which this organization stands: comradeship, friendship, loyalty to principle and to our comrades, and devotion to our cause. Before I declare you adjourned, it is fitting and proper. Well, I already did that. We already paid tribute to our flag. At this time, we'll have our closing prayer. Comrade Chaplain, are you online? Not hearing any. I'll go ahead and do that. May the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep our hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God, and now until eternal and all-wise Creator of the universe and preserver of our nation, be honor and glory forever and ever. Amen. I now declare this meeting of DAV Chapter 10 adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Everyone online, thank you very much.